I went to my local Target in their dollar section and I found this really cool basket. So it was $5. So the first thing we have to do is work in a little styrofoam. You really don't need a whole lot of styrofoam to keep this in place and work in your flowers. Now we're going to just dip a scrap stem into our hot glue. So this is our glue skillet. It is such a useful tool. And then I'm just going to add a bunch of hot glue to the base of this. After adding the hot glue to the styrofoam, we're going to just simply place it on the bottom of the container. Now we're going to work in this really pretty asparagus fern, and I love that it's lightweight and airy. So what we're going to do is pair this up nicely with this lavender bush. You can find all sorts of greenery and flowers available at nicksseasonaldecor.com. So I'm just going to use our wire cutters and snip it off. And it's never a bad idea to have pieces of all different sizes. I think it creates a better effect and creates more depth when you have different lengths of stems that you can work in. Now we're going to take our greenery, dip it in some hot glue, or what you can actually do is just work them right in. So this is going to be an arrangement for my table, so not working in hot glue leaves me the possibility of removing this greenery and the flowers later on, and then using them elsewhere. So I can turn this into a wreath just by taking all of these stems out and placing them on top of a grapevine. So if you ever get sick of the design by not using hot glue, you can easily remove it and use it in other decor. Here is our lavender. We're going to take our cutters. You can also find the cutters available at nicksseasonaldecor.com. We're going to just snip these stems all different lengths. So I'm going to use 2 to start. If we need more, we can always work in more. Coming back into our container, we're going to just simply insert these stems in as well. So if this design was to be placed outdoors, I would recommend hot glue. And for those of you that like to sell and give away your designs, I do recommend hot glue there as well. But since this is for my own home, I feel comfortable enough just sticking our stems in and making sure that the stems are going in deep enough to ensure that they don't slip out. And our final piece we'll just place on the side. Now let's dress up this design with some ribbons. We're going to create a really simple bow. This is a 7/8 inch wired ribbon. So I just cut a length for our tails. If you've never dovetailed before, it really makes a huge difference. So look at how these tails look without dovetailing. To dovetail, we're going to fold our tails in half. I'm just going to layer one on top of one another and cut from the middle out towards the wired edge at an angle. Now that we have our tails pre-cut and dovetailed, we're going to take another length of ribbon. We're going to create a bow using loops about 3 inches or so. We'll do one on either side. And this is going to be a very simple bow tie bow. So after doing that, we're going to take our ribbon and create what I like to call a button loop. The button loop is there just to cover up the wire and prevent it from being seen. We just want to see the ribbon with this beautiful bow. So we're going to open that up once we secure a piece of wire, so that we can poke into the styrofoam. Take your tails, tuck them underneath. We're going to use a little piece of 22 gauge florist wire and secure it by twisting it tight. So now I'm going to take our bow and I'm just going to poke it right into the styrofoam using the wire, and then we can fluff. I like to have my tails kind of weaving in and around the greenery and also not have them perfectly straightened. So here's how it looks, you guys. This only took one $5 Target basket. We used 1 asparagus fern and 2 bunches of lavender, and then a little leftover ribbon from another project. The styrofoam was also left over, so you can easily create this for about $10 or so, and I think it looks so pretty and perfect for year-round. Feel free to mix up the colors. If lavender isn't your thing, you can use whatever kind of flower and greenery you either have on hand or matches your home. We're going to start with some double-sided tape. Snip it off. We're going to place it on one side of the leaf, and you can just grab leaves from your garden or you can find them from your local grocery store, and then we're going to peel off the other side of the tape. After doing that, we're going to take our leaf and curl it up into a tube. Make sure it sticks, and we've created a little cone. Now that I've made about 4 or 5 of them, we can start assembling our arrangement. So I got some of these really pretty glass beads. We're going to remove them and simply place them into a container. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take those leaves, I'm going to place them in our container, and then I'm going to start filling up with a second bag of beads. Just like that. Now I'm going to add some water. Now I have some really pretty mini carnations from my grocery store, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to take them and place them into the leaves. You could also take a few extra and just place them directly into the rocks as well. And we have one more leaf left, and I'm going to place our final carnation into it. Make sure that they're going into the water so they last a long time, but carnations themselves last a really long time. But what a great vessel using the leaves as a floral frog. So I'm going to just take a couple more and tuck them in, but I love that those leaves just keep everything in place. And you can do this with any number of florals, whatever you have on hand, whatever you have in your garden, whatever you can find in your local grocery store, and of course, to match your home. And here is how it turned out, you guys. I absolutely love it. I just grabbed a few leaves from my garden, a couple dianthus or carnations, and that is it. Easy peasy. You can do this in any color combo, and I think it's very budget friendly and everybody can create this.
So we're going to start with a 12-inch terracotta pot. And this is just a basic pot, so I'm going to show you how to whitewash this. So you want to start with a little bit of water in a dish, and then add just a small amount of white paint. You can use any white craft paint that you have. I'm using some chalk paint here. Then you're just going to stir that up and combine the paint and the water really well. You want to have a really runny consistency. Now I'm grabbing a rag, and this is just an old t-shirt that I cut up, and I'm going to dip this rag into the whitewash that I have there. Don't need much at all, and just start rubbing it on the pot. I want this to look like it's weathered, like it's been outside for a while. So I'm going to rub back and forth quite a bit so I have this kind of distressed look. I want to use the same process on the lip of the pot as well, and the inside ring. Sometimes on a planter, depending on what's in it, you can see that inside ring of the pot. So this makes sure everything is covered. What I like about this finish is you don't need to seal this or anything. The terracotta can still be porous, so water can go in and out, and it's not going to affect that whitewash finish on the outside of your pot. Once the paint is dry, it's time to turn this into a planter. So I have a small plastic disposable pot here that I want to put in the center of this. And I've got some stones on the bottom. I want to raise this up so it's almost level with the clay pot. The idea is that we're going to plant around the outside and add a lighting element to the middle. So to create the middle, I'm just going to take some stones and fill up that plastic pot in the middle. Then to top it off, I'm just going to add a little bit of gravel so that I have a nice flat surface with soil, and I'm going to plant some beautiful spring flowers in here. But for now, I'm going to use some faux flowers. So I'm just taking a selection of nice faux flowers, and I've cut the stems, and I'm just going to poke them in and around here so it's nice and full. The outside is all covered with flowers, and on the middle I've got this nice flat surface. So I am going to put a vase here. This is one of those vases that came with a flower arrangement. It's going to work perfect for this. It kind of looks like a hurricane you might put on top of an oil lamp. So I'm going to set this there, make sure it sits nice and flat on that gravel. And then to the middle, I'm going to add a tall battery-powered votive. This is going to give off a beautiful glow. The whole candle actually glows. I'm going to pop that inside, and I have a spring porch planter. Right now we have our faux flowers in it, but this is going to look great in the spring when I'm able to switch these out for real plants.
I grabbed some lemons from the grocery store. So we're going to take our lemons and slice them into thicker slices using a serrated knife. And once we cut 2 or 3 of them, we can work them into an arrangement. Now it's time to start designing. So what I have here is 2 rectangular containers. These are glass containers. We have one smaller one filled with water, and make sure it's small enough to fit inside the larger one without too much of a gap. Now we're going to take our lemon slices and start working them in. Now we'll just continue working in the lemons, and then we'll have to cover every nook and cranny. We are going to add some beautiful flowers to this. We're just more essentially creating a really nice pot. Now I'm going to take some more water and fill in around the lemons. This will make it nice and clear, and that way you're not seeing any of the lemon juice on the sides. Another reason why we're adding the lemons outside of the container that's already filled with water is because we don't want that much acidity for our flowers, so it kind of preserves them from being damaged. So just continue filling it up. And while I was at the grocery store picking out the lemons, I also found some flowers. So my flowers at my local grocery store came in 3 bundles for $15. So what an easy, economical way to spruce up a barbecue you might be having, or just to add something pretty to your dining room or kitchen table. So we're going to start with some of these filler greens. Now we have some mums that we're going to just poke in. So a quick floral tip is to make sure that no leaves are within the water of the container. The only thing that'll do is cause the flowers to rot quicker and kind of pollute the water as well. And continuing with the yellow and green theme, we have these really beautiful spray roses. So I love the yellow on these. And I think this is a very fresh, refreshing type of design, keeping it really light and colorful. So we're going to work these in now. And here is how it turned out, you guys. I absolutely love it. We used 3 bunches of flowers from my local grocery store, and while I was there, I picked up 3 lemons. I've had these containers for many, many years, so in total, this design cost about $15 or so. Very inexpensive, and I think it's perfect for summer. So feel free to mix up the fruit too. You could use grapefruit, you could be using lemons, oranges, you name it, anything citrus, limes even, would look really, really pretty. And you can match the flowers to the fruit. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Nick Kretikos of Nick's Seasonal Decor, and you're Watchman Home Talk. See you in the next episode.